I wasn't born in 1984, and I can't even imagine. But just hearing these stories is and it's just so disheartening after everything that has happened in our own country. There still are people who are trying to cause this divide and distrust among all of us. And coming to the issue of Khalistan and the protests that we are seeing today, the thing is that I honestly do not think a lot of us actually understand what the agricultural issue is and why is it becoming so politicized. If you could please tell us what is exactly happening. We have not really seen any prominent political party in these protests. So who is it that is behind all of this chaos that is here in our own country?
Okay. Well, just you need to go back in time. I'll take you around 1970s. Okay. So this is the time when there were prominent farm leaders, Chaudhry Charan Singh and Chaudhry Mahendra Singh Takait. So Chaudhry Mahendra Singh Takait started organizing farmers and farm unions, and they started to actually create unions. And finally, in about 85, 86, they formed Bharatiya Kisan Union. And that is when they actually got a lot of strength and a lot of support from a lot of farmers across the country. But I should mention one thing very clearly. From 1970s, it was very clear that what was required for the farmers was to, one, fix a price for the crops themselves. Number two, they need to have freedom to sell their crops any way they wish to sell. And you can verify this. I know of this because I've seen this happen. A farmer from Punjab would carry 5 kgs of wheat, kanak, over his head, and he would walk into Haryana, the territorial boundary of 2 states, and he will be arrested for smuggling. That is the kind of freedom we had then as farmers. So if carrying 5 kgs of kanak would make you a smuggler, you dare not bring a trolley full. See? So the point here is that these reforms were due for a very long time. It took 50 years since the struggle began to actually culminate into reality and get these laws which would actually support the farmers, the cause of the farmers. And I'll quote you 2 incidents. On 4th of June 2020, there's a newspaper called Hindustan, popularly known as Hindustan Akhbar. In that newspaper, you would find Rakesh Tikait's interview. And he's clearly said that he thanks the Prime Minister for bringing in these reforms, which were much awaited. And his father's soul would now rest in peace since the long-standing demand of the farmers have finally been met. And the government has agreed to listen to the farmers. And second, I would want you to refer to the demand letters, per se the manifestos of Bharatiya Kisan Union, different, not just TICAT, but several Bharatiya Kisan unions. And then there is this organization called All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee. Okay? It's called AKISCC. So if you look at their demand letters, this is precisely what they've been asking for. And then go back and refer to the manifesto of Congress Party for Punjab 2017 and for 2019 elections, subhead 11, section 7, subhead 11, Krishi, Kisan or Khet Mazdoor. They have promised to abolish APMC. They've promised to give farmers a alternative mandi or alternative market to sell. So whenever you bring a reform, also I must tell you before I go on the reform part, you must you must be knowing about the reforms in 1990-91 by P.V. Narasimha Rao for industries, the liberalization per se. So that's when our GDP started to grow. That's when, we started to come back on track.
Right.
Because we had foreign direct investment, we had disinvestments, we had people investing in R&D, we had people investing in industries, and then it all began. The industries became the growth engine of this country. But nobody bothered to think about the farmers. And for good 8 years, the Swaminathan Commission report was being sat on by the chairman, Bhupender Hooda himself. So these people now are crying foul that, these laws were never demanded for, they were never asked for. So this has been a demand for 50 years. And for good 20 years, there have been separate select committees in the parliament. There have been different committees headed by several chief ministers. There have been committees, reports of Swaminathan, and then the chief ministers heading those commissions. They've all submitted their reports. And on the basis of their recommendations, these new laws were brought in. And people say that, yes, contract farming was in vogue. Yes, it was in vogue, but the rights of the farmer was not protected. Now it is being protected. Nobody can touch your land. Your land, nobody can mortgage your land. Nobody can put a lien on your land per se. कोई आपकी ज़मीन पे रहन नहीं रख सकता. Your land is safe. The contract is only for the fasal, for the crop. And crops are insured. And somebody gets into a contract with you, the first thing he'll do is insure the crop. Because it's his loss eventually. There is no provision for penalizing the farmer. I mean, if Congress could have done something better, the opposition collectively could have done something better, they should have brought it when they were in power. Or when they promised such laws, I mean, they should have given a draft law that this is what we propose to bring. But that doesn't happen. So my point is that there is a lot of misinformation that is being spread, and that misinformation is being spread from within, and it's being supported from the outside. I'm sure you would have seen the Greta toolkit as it's being, called out now, and the sort of people who are supporting this. But when you say how it all started, it started on 5th of October 2020, when Rahul Gandhi sat on that famous yellow sofa tractor, and it was driven by Sunil Chakad. The other side was Captain Amrinder Singh. They were testing waters. They wanted to see if this can actually work out. And it worked out. It worked out. And for 2 months after, the farmers were mobilized by the government of Punjab. And I am clearly saying it. I mean, if you have to file a case, do it. It's complete complicity of the government. And I will tell you a very strange fact. I mean, all chief ministers live in the official chief minister residence across the country. All governors live and they stay per se in Raj Bhavans. But the chief minister of Punjab lives in a private farm, not far from Chandigarh. Chandigarh is a union territory, and law and order is a state subject. There are various reasons. There are journalists across the border who stayed with the chief minister of Punjab. I mean, there is so much going on. So nobody asks those questions. So Captain Amrinder Singh today, I was reading his statement yesterday. He tweeted that there are a lot of weapons which are coming from across the border through drones and everything. I mean, if that is an intel report which is coming to you from your intel agencies, the state intel agencies, they need to be forwarded to the Home Ministry, not to be tweeted. I mean, there is a huge narrative being set as to what can happen. It was shameful for the Chief Minister of Punjab yesterday to actually go on and say that we can see a repeat of Blue Star. Why would he say that? So there is, my point here is conclusively that there is political complicity. There is connivance of political powers into snowballing this protest into an international protest. Make sure that the global attention or the country comes under, or the regime per se comes under the microscope. They're not bothered if India is being defamed. Their motive needs to be achieved. I mean, that's the shameful part. And they're willing to use anybody anybody per se, any celebrity, any porn star, any politician, any foreign power, any Pakistani agency, Khalistanis per se, they're not bothered. I mean, that's the worst part of it. That should not be the case.
Namaste. We hope you enjoyed this Chitti Media content. Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.